A few weeks ago, my wife and I went to Branson on vacation. In one of the mornings, they had this breakfast, and it went for 3 hours. But they had different acts that came in, and each of them gave a little bit of sample of their show. And the purpose was kind of to give you a choice and decide what it is that you wanted to see, and they wanted to sell tickets. And I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a great way to be able to do that. But what I noticed of the acts when they came in is that there were some that would try to get you kind of pumped up, and they would come in and go, all right, everybody clap your hands. And they would try to get audience participation, and they might even point people out. And to me, it felt manipulative, and they tried hard at it, and it felt like they were trying to control and to get you riled up, and it felt false to me. But some acts came in, and they were so good that they inspired me, and I wanted to clap along, and I wanted to clap for them, and it felt so good to see something that was inspiring instead of controlling. And the thought occurred to me as I was watching this. It's like, you know what? There's times I've felt like I've been controlled, and there's times I've felt like I've been inspired. And it got me thinking about God and wondering, does God control or does he inspire? My devotion is about Hosea 2. And in the 16th verse, God says, in that day, you will call me my husband, and you will no longer call me my master. And that seems like a big difference. See, the master is about me telling you what to do, maybe trying to control you. And the husband is about inspiring love. Now, all of Hosea 2 is an interesting chapter. And in the very beginning of it, God starts out and he's rebuking the nation of Israel and calling the nation of Israel a prostitute, and say that you have run out on me and you have turned away from me and you've chased other things. And then he says, well, because of that, I will strip you as naked as the day you were born. Well, that doesn't sound very inspiring to me. And the rest of the chapter goes on and he lays out some pretty stiff things that he's going to do for them, or to Israel, kind of to force them to be desperate and to cry out, and the things he's going to take away. It's like, well, that doesn't sound very inspiring either. And it's like, well, is God, are you just punishing? And it occurred to me as I'm reading this that, you know what? Maybe it's not control, God, it's a lack of control. It's like, if you want to run out and go do something, I will let you go do it. And you'll just have to pay the consequences. So I think there's one way that God kind of lets us go. On the other hand, the second half of the chapter is all about inspiring. And God says, but I'm going to call her back, and I'm going to speak tenderly to her, and I'm going to come with love and compassion. And he inspires and brings back with righteousness and justice and faithfulness and unfailing love and compassion. Well, I like all those things, and I find them inspiring. When God gives me compassion, I feel inspired. I want to love back because you've done something good for me. So I'm having these thoughts running around in my head. My wife and I are sitting in Branson, and we're going out for lunch. I start telling her my observations of inspiration versus control. And it occurs to me, I at times attempt to control her. So I want things that I want, and I blame, and I say demand, and I say I want this, and then when she doesn't do it, I get upset. And it's like, that is not on the inspiration side. That's like on this control side. And it's not even on if you're going to do that, go ahead. I mean, it's on a control and get power and show power and authority. And so I asked her, I said, what do I do to inspire you? She said, when you give me words of affirmation and you compliment me and you say thank you and all the things that when you do that, it warms my heart and it inspires me and it makes me want to love you more. And it's like, I can see this is where God inspires us. And I want to inspire my wife. It says, I've thought about this inspiration versus control. I don't want to be the controlling one. And I don't think God is that way, even when we're doing something wrong. I want to be the one that woos and that speaks tenderly and wins because of compassion and mercy. And so when it comes to my wife, that's what I'm going to try to do, is instead of complaining about what I'm not getting, inspire her to love me because I am loving her so much that she just wants to respond that way.